In the chilling depths of the Cold War, the world teetered on the brink of nuclear annihilation. The Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 brought the United States and the Soviet Union to the edge of World War III. Amidst the tension and uncertainty, one man, Vasili Arkhipov, would make a decision that would save the world from unprecedented destruction. Vasili Arkhipov was a Soviet Navy officer serving as the second-in-command on the submarine B-59. The submarine was part of a flotilla sent by the Soviet Union to Cuba, and it was armed with nuclear torpedoes. These torpedoes were powerful enough to destroy entire fleets and cities, making the B-59 a floating doomsday device. On October 27, 1962, as the Cuban Missile Crisis reached its peak, the B-59 found itself in a dire situation. It was detected by American forces and subjected to intense depth charges, which were intended to force it to surface. The crew, unable to communicate with Moscow and believing that a war might have already started, were on edge. The submarine's captain, Valentin Savitsky, believed that they were under attack and that World War III had begun. In the claustrophobic confines of the submarine, the pressure was mounting. The heat inside the vessel was unbearable, the air was running out, and the sailors were on the brink of panic. In this desperate moment, Captain Savitsky decided to launch the nuclear torpedo, believing it was their only chance to strike back and avoid being destroyed. However, the launch of a nuclear weapon from the B-59 required the agreement of all three senior officers on board. This included Captain Savitsky, political officer Ivan Maslenikov, and the second-in-command, Vasili Arkhipov. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, Arkhipov stood his ground. He argued that launching the torpedo would mean certain global catastrophe. Despite the extreme conditions and the overwhelming pressure to act, Arkhipov remained calm and resolute. He insisted that they should surface and await orders from Moscow rather than escalate the situation to a nuclear conflict. Arkhipov's steadfastness and moral courage prevailed. His decision not to agree to the launch ultimately prevented what could have been the beginning of World War III. The B-59 surfaced and the crew communicated with the Soviet Union, receiving orders to return home. The world would never know just how close it came to nuclear war that day, all thanks to the bravery of one man. Arkhipov's story remained largely untold for many years, overshadowed by the broader narratives of the Cold War. However, his heroism was eventually recognized, and he is now remembered as a man who, through his courage and conviction, averted a global disaster.